Seid ihr bereit für düstere Stimmung? Traurigkeit?
Ich dachte, das wäre lustig. Und dann so eine Musik?
Klingt das lustig?
Nein.
Klingt das für dich denn lustig? Oder vielleicht traurig? Was
mal leiser.
soll ich nur tun? Spiele ich auf A. Sonst bin ich aber auch offen, wenn ihr mal wieder Evolent spielt. Bist du dann offen? Evolent haben wir durch.
Ja.
Ja, die Hasen spielen auch mal Spiele durch. Aber tatsächlich, Evolent haben wir schon durch. Und für Evolent 2 haben wir leider kein Geld. Aber Mitte des Monats werden wir das wahrscheinlich in Angriff nehmen. Aber wir können ja mal gucken, was das hier ist.
Es ist auf jeden Fall sehr pixelmäßig. Evolent 2 habt ihr doch auf die Legendary... Habt ihr doch auch die Legendary Edition. Das haben wir auch?
Nee.
Nein. Das war nur die erste Legendary Edition.
Ja.
Das war aber nicht die zweite mit dabei.
Ich glaube, wir werden gerade zusammengeschraubt.
Oh ja. Wie so ein Lego-Männchen.
Lasse die Blitze auf uns einregnen. Geil. Achso, nee, wir werden noch am...
Wir werden verschweißt.
Ja. Oh, wir sind die Nummer 1. Und kriegen ein Modem. Wir haben ein Modem im Kopf. Oh, also haben wir eine lange Leitung.
Sieht so aus, ja. Es sieht jetzt nicht so fröhlich aus.
Nee.
Okay.
Horace Man 2.0.
Horace. Ja, ich hätte jetzt Horace gesagt. Wenn ihr die Legendary Edition habt, dann ist da Evolent 2 drauf. Lege ich meine Hand ins Feuer.
Echt? Gucken wir gleich mal.
Aber wenn wir die starten, dann ist immer nur die erste da.
Hm, das stimmt.
Ja. Schauen wir mal.
Ist aber süß gemacht.
Hm.
James, öffnen Sie die Tür.
Ich bin am Rauchen. Nein, ich mach das nicht. Aber dann rauche ich halt weiter.
Oh.
Wir sind ein kleiner, süßer, goldener Lego-Mann.
Und wir laufen wie Frankenstein. Hä?
Und irgendein alter Mann winkt uns zu. Ein reicher alter Mann
And
offensichtlich.
so, I was born. The first people I remember seeing were the old man, the old lady, and their daughter, Heather. After they'd said hello, the old man powered me down so he could install some software.
Don't.
I could tell they were nice people. The old man didn't give me a silly voice or stupid personality. And the old lady didn't dress me like a clown. Although for some reason, Heather really didn't like me. Once I'd had time to get used to walking, the old man asked me to dash from one end of the room to the other.
Etwas von Homer Simpson.
Ist aber süß gemacht.
Ja.
Oh, wie cool.
Also für mich hat das so ein bisschen so Gameboy-Vibes.
Ja.
Next, the old man spent a couple of hours building some wooden platforms. He said he wanted me to jump up them, but I must admit, I was scared. It wasn't until I saw Heather and her mother happily climbing up them that I decided it might be okay.
Oh, ich quietsche ein bisschen. Hat die Mama WD-40?
Aber ganz dringend, aber. Quietsch, quietsch. Boop, 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 boop.
The
Ja!
old man then rearranged the platforms. He told me to try to reach the other end of the room without touching the floor. Heather said, the floor's made of lava. But when I smiled at her, she just frowned and looked away. The old lady arranged some pillows and blankets. She said it was in case I fell, but I think she just wanted it to look more like lava.
Das sind die Schuhe. Ach, sind die noch nicht bezahlt?
X vorne A, okay.
When I
Ja!
reached the other side, the old man just smiled and said, that'll do, for now.
Wunderbar. Kapitel 1. Erste Schritte. Entschuldigung. Winter is coming.
My Little Pony.
Alter, was ein Braten.
A couple of days after those first lessons, the family had a big meal, and I was introduced to everyone else. The professor was the old man's brother. He was very quiet, and always seemed to just kind of stare at me. He had lived with the old man for 5 years. The house was so huge they barely saw each other. He preferred instead to stay in his room, leaving everything up to his butler, Mr. Deck, as he insisted everyone call him, although the professor always called him Anton. For a while, he called me the yellow bastard, but the old man made him stop, as he thought it sounded racist. Mr. Silton was the old man's driver. Before he worked here, he'd gotten in with some bad people and was the driver in a post office robbery, although it all went wrong for some reason. Mr. Silton showed me a video of his band. I'm sure some people must like it, but I just found it terrifying. Then there was Alice. She was the cook. She was a nice old lady. When she was younger, she had been a TV chef. Then, years later, she had a small part in Coronation Street. Mr. Silton said, before she worked for the old man, Alice was quite a hoarder. She kept old newspapers and bicycles. And something about a poo in a shoebox.
Okay.
The
Geil.
next morning, the old man gathered everyone together to show them what I was capable of. What else does he do? Asked Mr. Silton. The old man smiled. He can help around the house. Could he help me with my newspaper collecting? Asked Alice. I'm not sure that's a good idea, said the old lady, but he can do all sorts of jobs. Yeah, said Mr. Silton, shove a stick up his ass and he can do Deck's job. Now, said the old man, we have company, pointing to some important-looking people. 2 large men, both called Gary, set up what the old man referred to as lasers. He said again, I should try to get from one end of the room to the other, but I shouldn't be worried, as I had a special chip which meant no matter how damaged I was, I couldn't die. He said it was like infinite lives in a video game. But when he realized I didn't understand, he said he would explain another time.
Ich habe das Gefühl, der alte Mann ist einfach mega stolz auf seine Arbeit, die er in uns steckt. Fuck.
Es war nur zu Anschauungszwecken.
Ja, wir können nicht sterben. Ich bin zu doof.
Was machst du denn?
Ich töte alle.
Alle? Naja, eher uns.
Ja, aber auch die Hoffnungen vom alten Mann.
Achso, ja.
Warum müssen wir das machen?
Gute Frage.
Ja.
Everybody clapped, except the important-looking men. Not exactly a cold, calculated killer, is it? Said the man in black. The man in grey laughed. What kind of artificial intelligence was that? He asked. Move right, unless there's something in the way. Okay, said the old man. He turned to me and whispered, they're going to make it quite a bit tougher. But I'm sure you'll be fine.
Oh je. Ja, moin.
Das schaffen wir. Hör mal. Kriegen wir hin, oder?
Ja.
Wir glauben an uns. Nice. Okay. Bam.
The Garys then rearranged the room one last time. The old man smiled. Now, there's no need to look so glum, he said. I'm still happy with everything you've done today. So this time, I was determined to do him proud.
No. Damn it. Oh.
Wie mies.
Reach. Der duckt sich manchmal so schnell.
Achso, machst du das nicht?
Oh. Und jetzt?
Runter. Ist knapp bemessen, ne?
Ja. Ja.
The old man's friends actually seemed quite happy when I made it through. We might have a winner after all, said the man in black. It's no Killbot 3000, but you can almost see the fire in its eyes.
Wir sind kein Killbot.
A
Wir sind
couple of days
besser.
later, the
Leo
old
Croft
lady
wäre
said she had a surprise for me. My own room. She also wanted to play me some music. I wasn't sure after what Mr. Silton had shown me. As if music wasn't amazing enough, the old lady then bought me a television set. I couldn't believe what I saw. I watched everything I could. Comedy, drama, horror, sci-fi. Anything anyone wanted to watch I would happily watch with them. Then one day, the old man set up a small box. He plugged some cables into the television and said, "This is what I meant when I said video games." I played games at every chance I could. I took on everyone. I was unstoppable. I had enjoyed music, film, and television. But to me, video games really were the highest art form.
Ja. Das ist echt süß gemacht mit der Story. Table Tennis for Two.
Jetzt spielen wir die ganzen Spiele, die er spielt.
cool ist das denn?
Musst du beide machen?
Nee. Ich spiele gegen den alten Mann.
Ach so. Ah, ich sehe das ja.
Eieieiei.
Ein Wattenmatch schon mal.
Ha! Och, das war jetzt aber lame, hör mal. Yay! Ja. Ich muss mich gerade konzentrieren. Nice.
Heather's birthday was a couple of months later. Her mum and dad had bought her a camera and arranged a day out by the sea so that Heather could take some photos, although I really don't think she wanted any pictures of me.
Oh.
When the old man asked the professor if he wanted to go, he frowned and said, "I can't believe you want to spend time with that thing. It could destroy the world." I wasn't sure what he meant, but the old man just smiled and said, "That's what you said about the Game Boy." And on, "How about you?" "I don't think so," said Mr. Deck. "The last time I got in that car, Barry crashed us into a branch of Woolworths. I never would have gone into Woolworths of my own accord." The old man explained that the car was old and the brakes had failed, but Mr. Deck was having none of it. So Mr. Silton drove, and Alice came along for the fresh air.
Voll schön
I
gemacht,
enjoyed being outside.
oder?
Although, the old lady kept telling me to be careful of the rickety old walkways. It felt like she was telling me off, but I think she was just concerned. As the old man and I stood on the cliff tops, I could see something in the distance. I wasn't sure what it was, so I asked the old man. He said it was a battleship that had sunk in the 1940s. But he looked so sad when he spoke about war. I didn't see what happened, but the metal platform Heather was climbing on had collapsed. She was safe, even if the rocks she was on looked very dangerous. The tide was rising, and we didn't know how long the Coast Guard was going to be, so I offered to climb down and get her. The old man agreed, but said I should be careful, as Heather doesn't have infinite lives, like I do.
Boah, wie cool. Verdammt. Heather, ich komme. Fuck und fuck. Oh Gott. Wo kommt denn der Strom her?
Heather was unconscious, and her leg was broken, so I picked her up as gently as I could. I decided it would be best if I didn't run the rest of the way.
Auf nicht rennen?
Nichts rennen.
Eieiei.
Spiel ist echt super, sagt der Michi.
Ich find's auch total faszinierend gerade. Komplett unerwartet.
Ja. Das stimmt.
An ambulance had arrived by the time I had made it back to the cliff top. The medics made sure Heather was okay, and then took her off to hospital. A few days later, We all went to see how she was doing.
Ja.
She was fine, but would have to wear the cast for a couple of months.
Hm. Ja.
Sie
Willkommen
mag
zurück,
ihn.
Mickey.
Ich komme zurück.
Ja, wir sind ein
Hero.
Held.
Ja.
Und dabei waren wir als Kampfmaschine entwickelt.
Hm. Scheinbar.
Oh.
Jetzt schmeißt du weg.
Nee, ich bin über mein Kabel gerollt.
Ach so. Oh.
Once Heather got to know me, we became good friends. We enjoyed the same films and TV. She was also annoyingly good at some of my favorite games. After a while, she became very interested in how I worked. Soon she knew as much about me as the old man did, if not more. We spent the next couple of months visiting other countries, as when it came to teaching me things, the old man always liked to pick interesting locations.
No.
He had explained the basics of mathematics to me at the Great Pyramid of Egypt. Taught me history in the dead of night, surrounded by mysterious giant stones. And even showed me science in action high up in a hot air balloon. This is why I was surprised when the old man took me to a restaurant. It was nice, but it seemed very somber compared to the previous grand
Mach's gut.
locations.
Sorry wegen Vodafone. So, wir können es ja pausieren. Ja, dasselbe Problem haben wir heute auch. Gott sei Dank können wir zumindest streamen. Aber dann trotzdem danke fürs Reingeschaut haben.
Ja, schönen Abend dir noch, später eine gute Nacht.
Genau.
Und hoffen wir mal, dass Vodafone sich ein bisschen wieder
Am Arsch
fängt.
packt und ja.
Mhm. Bis dann.
Tschüssi.
Said he just wanted to chat, and this was nice and quiet. Plus it was his favorite place to eat. We talked about life, the universe, Douglas Adams, everything really. When I asked him why were we here, why did we exist, he just smiled and said, life is like a game, just don't expect to be finished anytime soon. When I looked puzzled, he said, well, everyone should have a purpose. So I asked him, what's my purpose? He thought for a bit, then said, so you want to be a real boy? Which just confused me even more.
Hallo. Sag mal, wolltest du nicht schlafen? Ich bin leider nicht abgedreht. Ich bin ein bisschen wach geworden, weil wir gerade ein mega geiles Spiel entdeckt haben.
Ja,
Es
total
ist
süß.
mega süß.
Eventually the old man said, for now, I want you to help clean things around the house. I must have looked unimpressed, as he then said, okay, I want you to clean 1,000,000 things. It didn't sound like the meaning of life, but I suppose you've got to start somewhere.
Oh, Kacke, da muss ich ja wieder gehen.
Du bist auch so ein Schmock. Mein Zweck im Leben. Oh, wie schön, dass es gemacht ist.